Your haircut's so bad.
Yeah, see, but you're like me where it's not long.
Yeah.
Right? It's touching the ears and...
We've just got an overnighter in front of us now. Piece of cake.
It's a little weird, huh?
Yeah.
It's surreal.
You go back and think of day one, though, it feels like a long time ago.
It does. Also pull your kayak down in the water before it's low.
It only took me 7 days to figure it out.
I guess that's one way. Wow, this thing is a lot heavier when it's loaded.
Day 7 has begun. So we're just a couple miles north of downtown New Bern, so we're going to paddle past downtown New Bern, where if we had went for COVID-19, we could have stayed in a nice warm bed, had a shower last night, but oh well. But we're going to paddle past downtown New Bern and then camp somewhere in Croatan National Forest. So about 14-15 miles today, and then depending on where we stop, 8 to 9 tomorrow, and we'll be done. We will have finished 170 miles in this river. It seems a little surreal that it's coming to an end. So it's only been since last Wednesday, but it feels like a really long time that we've been on the river, not in a bad way. But we think about, there's just a lot's happened since we've been paddling. We think back to when we first put in Smithfield, and Joe was even talking about how long ago it felt that we paddled past the Air Force Base, and that was on day 3. So it's a pretty cool trip. Joe was mentioning that it may not be his favorite trip just because it goes through civilization, a lot of civilization, different kinds. Some that are nice, some that are maybe not so nice. And I don't necessarily disagree with him. You know, people generally don't go camping and paddling to be surrounded by civilization. Usually you're trying to escape it. But the thing I have learned just by doing research and actually getting out on it, the Mountains of Sea Trail isn't necessarily about going through nature. It goes through a lot of nature, and there's some beautiful scenery. For me, it seems like the Mountains of Sea Trail is also about going through all things North Carolina, because it does. It goes through mountains, it goes through coastal plains, it goes through the beach. And so it goes through everything, good and bad, of North Carolina. So that's why I still think it's pretty cool, because it's about the culture, the state's culture, and its identity. It's turning into a beautiful day. It's just a little before 8:30, and I think we've timed the tides correctly so that we'll be able to ride the tide out. And winds much more favorable this morning than they were yesterday. It was the last little bit before we took out. It was less than pleasurable. Just another beautiful day on the water. Good times. Well, there's the hotel where we had planned to stay pre-COVID-19. Would have been a nice little spot. Tie the boats up. Enjoy the town of New Bern. Just a beautiful day. A little more wind than I guess, I guess we were expecting light to moderate winds, but they're coming out of the southwest. Feels more like they're coming out of the southeast. Could be wrong. It is what it is. That was the reason we didn't plan on doing a bunch of miles these last 2 days, because it might be beautiful blue skies, but the wind isn't in our favor, or we don't time the tides correctly. It could suck a little bit. So this wind is manageable, for sure. Just not the direction I was expecting. Just another beautiful day. Good times. The last 30 minutes have closely resembled work, because we found fighting a bit of a headwind, and we're cutting across a stretch of open water. It was a little sporty. Almost didn't want to stop paddling because I was afraid the wind was going to push me backwards. But finally, across that little open stretch, I think we're going to be able to follow the shoreline for most of the day. And because of the wind direction, we'll be out of the majority of the wind for the rest of the day, hopefully, knock on wood. But we're quickly learning that the quickest way between 2 points is not necessarily a straight line. We're dealing with a pretty stiff headwind from the south. You know, because the shoreline is naturally curved, and so if you try to paddle between 2 points, you're inevitably going to get out into some open water. There's no protection from the wind out there, and so the waves are a little choppier. And these kayaks are not designed for that kind of water. They're flat bottom, and they're just bouncing all over the place. What we're kind of doing is following the shoreline a little more instead of trying to take shortcuts. And it's actually easier and probably faster than fighting the wind and the waves. We've been paddling for about an hour since New Bern, and I'm glad that we're not trying to do 25 miles like we have been. There's just no way. With these boats, at least, much different experience today than what we've had for the previous 6 days. Up to now, it's been the river has felt very much like a river. And now, the river's pretty wide. I think by the time we finish, it'll be about 2 miles wide. So it's starting to feel less like a river, more like a bay. Still gorgeous. Just pinching myself that we're actually doing it. We're actually going to, barring some natural disaster, we're going to make it to the finish line tomorrow. I'm pretty darn excited about that. This trip really kind of started in 2016 when my friends and I did that 46-mile paddle from Raleigh to Smithfield. And that trip, awesome, but it whet my appetite for more. It was what planted the seed to be like, hey, what if we were to paddle the whole thing? And so that's what got me thinking. And I have, over the past 4 years, been dialing in my gear choices, researching boats, paddles, dry bags. Everything has been geared towards this trip as far as paddling gear. So to be able to finish it tomorrow, it's going to feel really, really good. Honestly, it's bittersweet, because with any big trip like this, I'm the kind of person that once you reach the finish line of one trip, you're looking off to the next big one. So we'll see what the next big one is. I'm trying to take it in as much as I can, because even though I know Joe's tired, I know I'm tired, and our bodies will be more than happy to get off the river tomorrow. I know we'll both miss it. Being out here for, it'll be 8 days. Being out here for 8 days is liberating in and of itself. Being away from, even though we've kind of tiptoed around civilization, we've kind of been removed from it. And so being removed from civilization for 8 days is liberating in and of itself. So we'll miss that aspect for sure. Just can't get enough. Very, very good times. Stopped for lunch about 45 minutes ago. Wind kind of comes and goes. It's definitely better to stay closer to shore. The land breaks up the wind. Joe looked it up, and it's a steady 15-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to 24. And for the most part, whoever said that this was going to be a winds out of the southwest kind of day needs to get their compass checked, because there's no way this is southwest winds. I mean, it is what it is. But if I'm going to be in the suck, I'd at least like some advance notice. We're just about to the border with Croatan National Forest. We've pretty much seen housing development to our right since New Bern. So it'll be nice to get into some wilderness. It's still a beautiful day. I would much rather have this weather than the weather we had yesterday out on this open water. It sucked a lot. So I'll take this. This is a freaking gorgeous day. Once we pass into the National Forest, we'll pass Fisher's Landing, which is a campground, and then just a little beyond that is Flanders Beach, both of which are closed because of the Rona. So we'll find a primitive site somewhere, tuck back, and set up camp for the night there. Can't get enough. Good times.
All right, well, we made it to our final campsite for the trip. We're in Croatan National Forest, and Joe just found this honey of a campsite right on the water, and lots of hammock trees. So not a bad spot at all. But I think our first order of business is to set up tarps and hammocks and all that other stuff, because our stuff got super wet last night from the dew, and start letting that dry out, and then go from there. Very good times. Like that. Today was not the easiest day we've had. Only did about 14 or 15 miles, but it was all with a headwind. It was just tough paddling. And tomorrow's our last day on the water. We're going to go to there's a little landing just beyond the ferry terminal that we've got permission to land at. But we'd normally take out at Pine Cliff, but that area is all closed up. So do what we got to do. But probably about 9 miles tomorrow. And the winds are just supposed to be coming out of the north at 5 miles an hour. So that is light years better than what we had today. So we shall see. But yeah, it's bittersweet. The trip's coming to an end, but it's been pretty incredible. Anyways, dinner time, beer time, then bedtime. Good times.
Caterpillars are good because they turn into butterflies, which I like butterflies. Tinworms don't.
They're just the flyovers are getting kind of old.
I'm telling you, we're in a pattern of some sort. Not as the crow flies.
Actually, it makes sense. They've got a flight line that points directly at us, so that's probably how they're taking off. The koozie was wet to begin with. Believe it or not, when you have something that's wet, you put it in a waterproof bag, it stays wet.
Yeah. That's why I was turning all my waterproof bags inside out. It's freaking wet on the inside. I've seen a lizard with 4 legs hold on to much better.
He's trying to figure it out.
Fail.
Oh,
Fail.
No.
Loser.
Hank,
Dude,
come on, man.
You're going to get eaten by a bird.
Yeah, that pizza hut was definitely welcome. I mean, it's always preferred in a survival situation to live off the land as opposed to going into your food stock. So, really,
Right.
I mean, that's like
right.
Bushcraft 101.
Off the land. Yeah, that's what it is. It's living off the land.
Look at that. Nice and level.
You got it down.
Finally.
Took a week, but you figured it out. I almost find it in here. I mean, if there isn't sand in my shoes at the end of the day, I mean, what have I really done? And it wasn't that windy of a day, but I was sailing it and the tiller just snapped off. And so I'm like, oh, well, this is no big deal. I know how to steer with the sails, and you can steer with the sails.
But it's a lot easier with tiller.
It's a lot easier with a rudder, yeah. And so, Fish and Wildlife comes up and like, hey, you need some help? It's like, all right. So they put me in a side tow and got me right in. I could have made that so much easier because I was just like, oh, I don't need a rudder. I can steer with the sails because I'm that salty. But I was so caught up in my own saltiness that
I can do this.
Yeah.
I can camp in a swamp. I can do this.
We got hammocks. We don't need land. All we need is trees. We're tree dwellers.
land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun doth shine, where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great. Here's to the down home, the old North State. Cheers.
Cheers.